Neither of them. Okay. The next one, and as the world burns. Volodymyr Zelenskyy, the president of Ukraine, went on the Piers Morgan show this week. You can check it out. It was a great interview. Well, great interview. Interesting interview, I should say. And he demanded, as part of the peace agreement, since it looks like they're not going to get NATO membership, which would clearly be a red line for Vladimir Putin, thank God, he demanded nuclear weapons. Zelenskyy wants nukes. Now, what a great idea. Here's my thing. I'm sympathetic to the plight of the Ukrainians, right? That is just like I'm sympathetic to the Israelis. Doesn't mean I think we should be funding either of those. I'm sympathetic to it. I understand why Zelenskyy wants nukes. I get it. It's the same argument that I want a gun, because the criminals are going to have a gun, so I should be able to have a gun too. The problem is, this would be the equivalent of if I had a history, if I was saying, hey, you know, there's a lot of criminals out there with guns, I should be able to have my own gun. But as it turns out, I also had a history of, at one point I did have guns, and I was shooting my guns into my neighbor's house over and over and over again, which is what Zelensky's done. We can't trust these people for a lot of reasons. Totally reasonable that he'd ask for it. I get it. Your aggressive neighbors have nukes. I would want them too. Strong deterrent, the same way having a gun is. But at the end of the day, these guys have already fired countless missiles at soft targets in Russia. They've committed war crimes against Russian civilians. We've broken that down time and time again. We cannot trust them with nukes. The time has come and passed. The reality is, even I pray to God Donald Trump does not give them a nuke, because here's the reality. We're going to cover Elon Musk and what him and Doge are doing, weeding out a lot of the corruption in the deep state later on in the show. I still don't trust the intelligence agencies, the people that really have compromised Zelenskyy over there, and that are, by the way, they said of the $200 billion that got sent over there, they've only found 77. Only 77. He doesn't know where the other 123 went. Fun fact there. Fun times. We're very efficient in how we spend our money here in this country. And if you think that's bad, wait till you hear about what the money going to Palestine and Gaza's done later on in the show. But my problem here is this guy's clearly compromised by the intelligence agencies. The intelligence agencies clearly hate Trump and anyone who's anti-establishment, so they would have an incentive to sit in this guy's ear and encourage him to launch one of these nukes. It wouldn't just be him that we can't trust. There are people within our own government, the enemy from within, if you will, that are in this guy's ear who are going to encourage him the second he gets a hold of a nuke to do something reckless with it. And I don't trust them even less, and I trust them even less than I trust Vladimir Zelenskyy. That's what the problem is here. Totally agree. Yeah, I'd want a nuke too if Russia was my neighbor. But that ship has sailed. Do you guys know why Ukraine can't have nukes? The United States is the one that disarmed Ukraine. We're the ones who disarmed Ukraine from nuclear weapons. We told them, you got to get rid of your nukes. Here's the problem. This just demonstrates how messy it gets and how dangerous it is when we have our fingers all over the world. When we put our fingers in international affairs all over the world, this is the shit that happens. We fuck ourselves. Decades of bad policy, and now the next guy has to come in and clean it up. Had we never told Ukraine that they had to get rid of their nukes, that would have been enough of a deterrent that Putin probably never would have moved on them in the first place. But since that, I believe it was either Bush or Obama, I can't remember. But since that happened, now they don't have nukes. And granting them nukes in a new, unstable, 20, 30 years ago, it would have made sense to let them keep their nukes. Nowadays, in a new, unstable, and hectic situation over there with leadership that we cannot trust, who's clearly been compromised by bad elements of the military-industrial complex over here, the game has changed. The game has changed, and it all starts with us disarming them decades ago. Had we not done that, and had we not had our fingers in the world affairs trying to control puppet states halfway across the world decades ago, none of this would have happened. But since we have not only antagonized international superpowers, but put our fingers into the politics and leadership and military structure of other countries that we have nothing to do with, this is the mess we have to clean up now. Now we have to decide. The nukes that we never should have taken away in the first place, do we give them back to a new leader that's way more unstable than the last guy that we can't trust? And there's a chance that he starts World War III if we do it. Or do we sit here and tell him, well, we're not going to give you the nukes, but you're also on your own. We're pulling all of our money out. This is a bad, bad situation, and there's no good answer for it. So this will be interesting to see how Trump negotiates out of this one. What's likely going to end up happening, because I'm tired of people using the Hitler comparison with Putin. Putin hasn't indicated at all that he wants to conquer all of Ukraine. There's specific regions that he wants, whereas Hitler was trying to conquer all of Europe. Ukraine's going to have to end up ceding some land. That's the only way this ends without the world blowing up, or at least Europe blowing up. Ukraine's going to have to cede some land. They are. And that's another thing. Because Trump wants to make countries start paying their fair share into NATO, right? If there was really this concern from these countries that Vladimir Putin, after he took Ukraine, was just going to roll through the rest of Europe, these countries wouldn't have any problem paying into it. In fact, they'd be offering up more because they'd be building their militaries. Even how do we get a bigger military than the one we have? Like, this is not enough. We need more. But they're not doing that. They're complaining, they're crying, they're outright refusing to do it, et cetera, et cetera. So that tells me there is no real threat for Putin to go much further than Ukraine. I don't see that. I think that threat's been completely fabricated, and I think it's a fear tactic. Okay, that has been As the World Burns. We're going to might not do that every week, but we're going to bring that segment on more often than not, I think. Anyway, stay tuned. We got Caleb Holds Up the Mirror and then Trending This Week coming up next.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked what you saw, be sure to click the link in the description to get the full episode on Rumble. If you prefer to listen along, you can actually get us on Spotify, Spreaker, and iHeartRadio. You can also go to www.outlawstreamers.com to learn more about not just my show, but tons of other great shows and all the exciting projects they have coming up. Follow my socials at Caleb Isn't Funny on Twitter and Instagram, at Caleb Salvatore Comedy on the Chinese spy app that is TikTok, and be sure to like and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Thanks, and we'll see you every Saturday for brand new episodes of That's Based. Peace.